The following is a fan-based discussion. All properties discussed are property of Toei Inc., Bandai, Hasbro, and Subaraya Productions. Hello everybody, welcome back to Tokucast Reviews.
Hi!
Today, we're back to Ultraman for at least a little bit. And we are reviewing...
This is the mood that we're in now.
Wow! I didn't know there was a J in that word.
I didn't either.
I guess I was so wrong. I've been saying it wrong all these years.
Let's check Oxford's dictionary. We're not going to. Ultraman Dyna.
Ultraman Dyna, that's the name of the show.
That is what we are doing this week.
Sequel to Ultraman Tiga.
Yes.
Which,
and you know how they say, the sequel doesn't live up.
well, it's not always true. I was going to say second verse, same as the first altogether now, but a whole lot worse.
That is a much better saying than my stuttering.
We're both stuttering today. And I'll tell you why. It's because Ultraman Dyna might be one of the most uneventful, boringest shows we ever had to watch for Tokucast.
Yeah, and it's weird.
Okay, for any of you who's been with us for a while, if this is your first time joining us, you may want to try something else. This might not be a good first start, but thank you all the same.
Go watch Not Winspector. Basically, watch anything else.
But if this is your first time joining us, welcome. So
you can also tell how much I don't care about the fact that I did not shave today.
I didn't either.
So usually I'd shave before we do this to, try to make my face look as young as possible. But this show sort of blanded the life out of me.
Yeah.
So
this is the hardest kind of show to review for anyone who's been with us for any period of time. If we really like a show, it's easy for us to talk about. If we really hate a show, it's also easy for us to talk about. This show is completely smack dab in the middle of bland.
It's like right below Garo Ranger.
Never once... I'd put Garo Ranger on the badder side of things, though, for me.
Really? At least they had the part where everybody died.
Yeah, that was
most of the team.
Well...
But then again,
I guess both of these shows had one episode where some cool things kind of happened.
What was the one episode for you? Because nope.
It was the last episode. It was the final episode.
Because it ended. Also because Tiga showed up.
Also because there was actually some cool action and, yeah.
Like, there are some things in here. This feels, in some cases, a little bit like an older Ultraman, which is like the sort of the weirdest part of that. Mm-hmm. Because some of the monsters, they just straight up murder some of them. Mm. And I was like, that's just fun to watch. But other times you're just sitting there like, wow, I'm watching this, I guess. I don't feel good about the fact that I'm watching this.
A lot of the stuff that we've seen in the show, we've seen before in other shows. And I'm not saying that's not a criticism in and of itself. It's that they don't present it in any kind of interesting way. There's not a single action scene or character or series of moments or scenes that I could grasp onto and really want to talk about. It's just, here's a monster. We should probably fight it. Oops. Yeah, our human weaponry is completely and utterly ineffective against it. Ultraman better show up. Ultraman shows up. The monster dies.
Often.
It's every episode.
Yeah, it's like they'll try to make something new and I'm sitting here like it just jobs. Mm-hmm. Like, at least in Tiga, they had a couple times where, the Ultraman couldn't beat the monster, but the team could. Now, I understand. People like this show. I know people who like this show, and that's perfectly fine. It's just the fact that I really don't have that many strong feelings about it either way, and that ends up being the problem with it. Of course, before we get into the characters, it's just like, looking at the way that this show is set up, it's supposed to be more comedy-focused than Tiga.
It isn't funny, though.
Yeah.
It's not funny, and it's not... The drama moments are just kind of like, okay, whatever.
They feel secondhand.
Yeah.
And, this is weird, because this show came out around the same year or two that Garo Ranger did.
Oh, did it?
And okay. I know, Subaraya and Toei, they're two separate studios, but it's just like, Garo Ranger had some genuinely comedic moments in their team, but this show just sort of tried too hard in some cases, especially because they had a straight woman in this case. And I'm just
you need that in a comedy. You need your straight man character in order to make, because they need somebody to play against.
I know, but it's weird because it's always her.
It is always her, but that's not what bothered me. What bothered me is just...
I'm talking about just like trying to compare this to Car Ranger.
Okay.
Because you remember with Car Ranger, there was no real straight man in that show. Yellow was sort of like the closest one that you got to it.
Yeah.
But they sort of jumped the straight man trope around every episode or two.
I think one of the reasons it worked in Car Ranger, at least for me, was because Car Ranger was such a definitive spoof.
Yeah. Car
Ranger was a parody of Super Sentai as a whole, and none of it was really meant to be taken seriously, whereas this is.
Yeah.
Because they're both meant to be comedies, but one is a parody of itself.
Although I saw something on...
Parody of its genre.
Online, or it might have been in one of our comments where somebody was talking about how once Car Ranger got over the parody aspect of the show, like the ratings went up, but it sort of solidified itself as a parody pretty early on, and that made it distinct in its own reality.
That's what people remember it for.
Yeah, people remember it for its parody, and it was good because of that. It refused to take itself too seriously. But then you end up having someone like Shin Asuka.
Yeah, Shin Asuka.
Let's talk about the characters. They're mostly the show. I got nothing.
He was generic anime protagonist. I'm going to be the best guy.
Yeah.
That's what he was.
And...
Which there's nothing wrong with that.
If it's executed well.
It's just, if it's executed well... Because we've seen that done well before in other shows, I think.
Yeah.
But this one, not so much. He's loud, he's immature, he's reckless, and...
It doesn't come off as genuine.
Not really. It comes across as someone with a passing interest in anime wrote a character like this.
That is actually very true. And I really wonder what made them go the more... comedic route after coming off of Tiga and some of the episodes that we had in that.
Yeah.
And then we end up getting something like this. It's just like, all right, there's not really as much of an impact on the comedy side or on the drama side to really draw me into the show. Mm-hmm. So watching it was a chore. Mm-hmm. And that's what makes something like, at least to us, something like watching Garo Ranger is terrible because it's so bland and the characters aren't really strong enough to really drive it at really any certain point. Maybe a couple times it's Silver, but even then, you're not getting much.
You're getting nothing.
And that's why we review, like, say Wild Force is just a better show because the characters are stronger. But something like this, where it's just these characters throughout the entire show, we don't really get a lot of space to grow, and the characters don't really seem to grow as much. Shin stays the same.
Yeah.
A lot. Up until he ends up leaving at the very end of the show to hop between dimensions.
Yeah.
And, you know, we saw him recently in the terrible Ultraman Saga movie.
We did.
But
he also showed up in Ginga.
Yeah, he shows up a couple... I like seeing him... It's sort of like Bond from Deca Ranger.
Yeah.
Like, Bond was... But opposite of Shin. Bond was okay because he had legitimate growth throughout that show. And then you just, like, see him every time afterwards. He's just amazing.
I think another problem that I have with the show is that there's too many characters. There's too many characters with too little spread between them.
Yeah. That is actually a really good point because this has about the same amount of a cast.
Because you look at somebody like Bond and his teammates have very different personalities.
Yeah.
And he's able to play off of them well.
Yeah.
And you have this great team dynamic, and then you have the rest of the supporting cast. They're really good, and they all feel like they gel together. Mm-hmm. This just felt like actors saying lines.
It sort of...
It was like, let's get some people on a set. It's like, they would show them... It felt like they showed them a clip from an anime. Hey, can you do an impression of this? And they were like, you know, you're the commander who's really stern and like, brr, and, you know, yells a lot. You're the straight woman. You're the cute girl. You're the tough shonen guy. Do an impression of that and we'll film you saying things.
It's also really weird because of the fact that we actually... Like, this cast is no bigger than the one in Tiga.
Yeah.
But Tiga had a much better spread between, you know, how things are going to go throughout basically the entire show. Mm-hmm. And it's just really weird looking at something
Or even something like Ultraman X.
Yeah.
Ultraman X had a really great cast and they felt like a team. Ultraman Mebius, they had one of the best casts ever.
Nexus, it's just like you end up getting something like this and just like, wow, this feels like a weird step back. And this is also weird because, you know, we had Tiga, which we love. Then there's this.
I like Tiga, I don't love it.
It has some lovable episodes.
It certainly does.
It really does. But it's like we had Tika, which is a good show.
Which really was a good show. I will give it that.
Then we had this. Then we had Gaia, and we didn't have any strong feelings about that either.
Gaia wasn't that good.
And, well, yeah, but it's just like we didn't have a lot to say about it. Mm-hmm. But Dyna is just, it falls in a weird crevice in the middle where it's just like, but it doesn't.
I'll give Gaia this, though. Gaia had some incredible action.
They did.
Gaia had incredible action. They did some really cool things with the camera.
Yeah.
I think in particular that shot where he's fighting a monster in the camera. You think it's going to like pull back, but no, it swoops down to give you a ground point of view as they they clash together. That fight at the end where they're fighting like a big city-sized monster,
and then that
just dwarfs the Ultraman. That was cool.
Remind me, in Dyna, did they ever do the smaller Ultraman fight? I can't remember if they did.
I don't remember either, but
let us know in the comments below.
I don't think so.
And it's weird. Tika did.
Yeah,
Tika had a couple.
Yeah, Tika had a couple of those, and
Gaia did too. That fight between him and a ghoul on the side of the ship is still glorious. Mm-hmm. But yeah, something like Dyna, it just doesn't do enough in either direction to really pull me one way or the other.
It's like you look at the action scenes. Yeah, they're okay, I guess, but they're just kind of flat. Nothing about them really pops out of the screen.
Shin doesn't call to me. Rio was like, all right. Why?
She's like love interest. She's like kind of a love interest for Sheen, but they don't really have any chemistry whatsoever, as opposed to Daigo and Rena and Tiga, where they had wonderful chemistry.
Yeah,
and they were like already a couple at the start of the show.
She just wasn't strong enough.
She wasn't strong enough
to really pull.
Wasn't strong enough as a character, I would say.
It's like they sort of fit her into like the strong girl archetype.
Yeah, she's the strong girl, and then you have she's the tomboy of the group.
Yeah,
and then you have the other girl who's the cute girl, cutesy girl.
There's really not a lot to her character either.
No,
Midorikawa, and you're just like, she's the one who gives Dyna his name. Mm-hmm. But that's about the most that she
also serves. the way Dyna gets his name, it's just like, oh, we should call him Dyna. Okay.
Yeah, they come with like various names for
him. They come up with a bunch of different names, and then hers is the one that sticks because that's what the show is already called.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't feel like if they just picture this. Mm-hmm. Sicily, 1912. But if they did something like
it was the summer of Napolonia.
They did not give you the actual title card at the beginning. You don't get it until she names him. Mm-hmm. That would have made it just a little bit stronger of I give him this name now. Mm-hmm. And people agree on it. But we don't get that. So a lot of her characters...
And it happens a couple episodes into the show.
Yeah. I don't know. This show was just... I wanted it to be better. You know what is better than RuPaul's Drag Race?
You know what else is better? At least as far as Dyna's concerned.
What's
the theme song? At least
Dyna.
At least the theme song's great.
Yeah.
But you were telling me earlier, RuPaul's Drag Race, what happened on last night's episode?
So basically, we're just going to turn it into a RuPaul's Drag Race show. So if you want to cut here, just cut to the end of the video where we announce what show we're doing next. But this season of RuPaul's Drag Race has been great. Yeah, we're only 2 episodes in, but I'm still enjoying it. I'm still enjoying it a lot. Will we know exactly where it's going to fall on Marcus's favorite RuPaul's? Maybe we'll do that as a video. Marcus's favorite RuPaul season.
Sure, why not?
That'd be great.
Why not?
That would just be a thing I would do.
I mean, they're... The queens on the show, they are dressing up. It is a form of toku, I guess you could say. There is special effects. There is special effects involved.
Somebody's gonna be mad, and I'm enjoying it. Put it in the comments below. Season 6 is the best. Fight me. But just like, there are things that could definitely end up being worse than Dyna. We've watched worse things than Dyna.
We've watched much worse things.
Winspector.
Winspector was worse. Amazon's was worse.
For you.
Yeah.
Amazon season 2 was worse for all of us.
We watched Mask Man. That was worse.
It's so... Alright, let's go back a second. It's really weird looking at these shows that I really liked the first time around and just don't like anymore.
Really?
Mask Man was that show I was like, I really like this. But that's because I was paying so much attention to really only just Blue and Yellow.
I was going to say, you love Blue and Yellow. You love it when Blue fights out of suit.
Because
and you love Yellow because she's a ninja. She's cool.
She's just cool.
Yeah.
But then we end up getting a show like watching Masked Man again.
Yeah.
And I just don't like it anymore.
It's awful.
It's Dyna. You're right. It's worse than Dyna, but that's just because they spent so much time on writing that show. I like Cocker Ranger less. It's not my least favorite.
Mm-hmm. I like Hurricane less.
Yeah.
Hurricane I liked a lot less upon rewatching it.
Yeah. Of course, there are going to be some shows I like a lot more. I love Magic Ranger now.
Oh, yeah. Magic Ranger's great.
That's a quality show. I didn't like it that much the first time around.
That's right. You didn't.
But I'm just like watching it, the second time that we reviewed it. I'm so happy that I got to watch it again because I'm just like, this is great. I really enjoyed this. Yay. But yeah, I guess the next Ultraman show that we're going to be doing we could jump around really at any point. I do want to watch Max at some point.
Yeah.
Of course, but I think the next one that we might do, just because people are really calling out for it, it's going to be a while before we do it. But the next one that people are really calling out for because it just ended is RB.
That's right.
So I guess we can watch RB next. I'm not excited. Just so you know, I'm really not excited to watch that show. But the next show we're going to be doing, luckily it's a shorter one, we'll be doing Garo Retsuden, which is the anthology show. Anthology season of Garo. Right. So I'm excited. I think I only watched like the first 2 episodes of that, and then I just fell off for some reason.
I've never seen this one, so it'll be nice to go back to Garo again.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, there are some things that happen from season 5 in this, but because it does come after season 5. Mm-hmm. But it covers basically characters from all the seasons. So we're good to go. Yeah, next episode will be Garo Retsuden, and then after that, you know what's after that?
Is it Forza?
It is Forza.
Sweet.
We'll be doing Forza after Garo Retsuden, and after that, Akiba Raging.
Oh God! It begins. It begins. Akiba Ninja.
Eventually, I think the thing that I'm just gonna have to push into our schedule at some point and move like everything off by an episode is going to be another thing that me and you do, or rather watch because we really enjoy the show.
Conversation of the V.
So yes. I had to figure out a place to put that. It's probably going to be sooner rather than later. But I am excited to watch everything that we have coming up soon. Let us know what you're most looking forward to us reviewing now. I know a lot of people prior to us doing all of February on it, was Gokaiger.
Yes.
So now I guess really the next big thing that we're going to be doing, and I know that we're going to be dedicating an entire month to, is going to be Gaim.
Oh yeah.
So
there's a lot of movies to cover for Gaim.
There are a lot of we have a couple things. We have a couple of Garo movies that we got to do.
Yep.
So we're gonna have some. I'm so excited what we're going for the rest of 2019. We're gonna have to talk about something after this because I just realized as of filming this, we're filming this on March 8th. Mm-hmm. Our anniversary is next weekend.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Cool.
So we're gonna have to figure out something. Because I won't be... Yeah. Bye, everybody. Oh! Patreon, Facebook, Discord, Instagram, Twitter. Patreon again. We got some things coming in the works for our Patreons. For our patrons. For those of you who, give things to us. We want to give back to you as well. So there are going to be some things that... If your Patreon is exclusive, maybe we'll do some of the things that I really don't want to do. Like some certain top 10 lists that I know people are really wanting us to do, but it's aesthetic, so I'm really hesitant on doing it. Mm-hmm. I know people have been talking about doing top 10 mooks and top 10 Sentai weapons. We already know what's going to be number 1. If you don't, think about it. Take a second. Think. But yeah, join us next time as we do Garo Retsuden. Maybe we'll end up having a lot more people who watch this one because I know a lot of people didn't really watch our review of season 4. Go back and watch our season 4 video.
Not a lot of people watch season 4, I guess.
But I mean, we're going to keep doing all the Garos. This video has gone on a lot longer than I thought it was going to.
Isn't that a good thing?
It's a thing that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let us know what you think about Ultraman Dyna in the comments below, and join us next time in 2 weeks for Garo Retsuden. Bye, everybody.
Bye.